Welcome to Hebraic Insights in the Gospels. Join us every Sabbath on Zion Road Radio for a look at the life, deeds, and words of Yeshua Messiah and his followers from the Torah-centric Hebraic perspective they were originally lived and written in.
Stand at the crossroads and look. Ask for the ancient paths. Ask where the good way is, and walk in it. And you find rest for your souls. You find rest for your souls. Oh, you find rest for your souls when you walk in his way.
Today's program is on Matthew chapter 14, verses 15 through 36. What kills faith? Why do we struggle with unbelief? How do we overcome unbelief? Why shouldn't we doubt? And how do we grow in our faith? Stay tuned through the end of this program for Eliyahu ben David's insight on these questions and more in Matthew chapter 14. And now, here's today's scripture portion. Matthew chapter 14, verse 15 through verse 36. When evening had come, Yeshua's disciples came to him, saying, "This place is deserted, and the hour is already late. Send the multitudes away, that they may go into the villages and buy themselves food." But Yeshua said to them, "They don't need to go away. You give them something to eat." They told him, "We only have here 5 loaves and 2 fish." He said, "Bring them here to me." He commanded the multitudes to sit down in the grass, and he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he blessed, broke, and gave the loaves to the disciples, and the disciples gave to the multitudes. They all ate and were filled. They took up 12 baskets full of that which remained left over from the broken pieces. Those who ate were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. Immediately, Yeshua made the disciples get into the boat and to go ahead of him to the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. After he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into the mountain by himself to pray. When evening had come, he was there alone. But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, distressed by the waves, for the wind was contrary. In the 4th watch of the night, Yeshua came to them walking on the sea. When the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It's a ghost!" And they cried out for fear. But immediately Yeshua spoke to them, saying, "Cheer up! It is I. Don't be afraid." Peter answered him and said, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the waters." He said, "Come." Peter stepped down from the boat and walked on the waters to come to Yeshua. But when he saw that the wind was strong, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me!" Immediately, Yeshua stretched out his hand, took hold of him, and said to him, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" When they got up into the boat, the wind ceased. Those who were in the boat came and worshipped him, saying, "You are truly the Son of Elohim." When they had crossed over, they came to the land of Gennesaret. When the people of that place recognized him, they sent into all that surrounding region and brought to him all who were sick, and they begged him that they might just touch the fringe of his garment. As many as touched it were made whole. And now here's Eliyahu ben David on that portion.
Hello, friends, and greetings. Tonight we're going to be talking about one of the most basic and yet profound things that we have to even think about here, and that is learning to believe. You know, a lot of people think they believe, but when it gets right down to a hard trial, they find out that they don't believe as much as they thought they did. In fact, cultivating our faith, cultivating our belief, is truly a lifelong pursuit. And we're going to be looking into this tonight as we look at some lessons of faith that Messiah shared with his disciples and see if we can benefit from those too. Well, learning to believe, from one point of view, it's like, why do we even have to learn to believe? You know, like Messiah said, you of little faith, why did you doubt? The greatest fact, the greatest truth and reality in all of the universe is the Creator who made it all. Everywhere you look, there's evidence of his fingerprints, his touch. Why do you doubt? You know, why? The more we study his word, the more we enter into fellowship with him and walk with him, the more that reality of who he is all the time makes its impression on our spirit. And yet, even with all of that, sometimes we doubt because we are living in such a faithless world. I think it even rubs off on believers sometimes. I love this story about the 5,000 men plus women and children that were fed here in Matthew 14. A lot of people read something like that and they think, oh, well, this is a good story. This is an allegory to teach us something. Well, we can learn a lot from it, but it's more than a story. It's something that actually happened. And it does have meaning for us. You know, the disciples brought up a problem, right? All these people, they needed to be fed. It didn't occur to them that they could do it. Do you ever do that? You notice a problem and you say, oh, somebody should do something about that? Do you ever stop to think maybe that somebody is you? That's what Messiah said to them, right? You give them something to eat. I like that. I like that reply. But you know, then what they said, well, we only have here 5 loaves and 2 fish. In other words, it's ridiculous that we could feed them because we have so little. I was reading this and I was thinking about the messages that we always get, that we've been getting all of our life. The constant messages that what you've got is not enough. You need to have the new breakfast cereal with the champion on the front of it. You need to have, you know, the shoes with this brand name. You need to go to this kind of doctor. You need that kind of operation. You need these kind of things. You don't have enough to do anything. And then what kind of person are you? Well, they would have pretty much everybody thinking they need to take mind-altering drugs to be okay. If you are constantly told that you don't have enough, you know, after a while, that message starts to sink in. It's very possible when they told Yeshua about these people, and he said, you feed them, he might have been the first person they ever met that had a positive message that you can do it. Do you think he's still saying that? Do you think he's saying that to you? Don't let this world limit who you are. Don't let this world tell you you don't have enough to do the thing that Messiah would have you do. Because look at what they did. 5 loaves, 2 fish. They put it into the hands of the Messiah. And then he gave it back to them and said, okay, give this to the multitudes. And they did. And all of the multitudes were filled, plus there's a whole bunch left over. Did that take faith? I think it did. I think for those disciples to take what he gave them and hand it out to all these people, was an act of faith. They didn't run away. Okay? That's what a lot of people would have done that I've met. They'd just run away. Oh, you're crazy. I'm not going to embarrass myself like that. I'm out of here. They were learning. They were learning. And they were amazed at what happened. You know, you might have just a little. If you put it in the hands of Messiah and trust him, what he can do with that can knock your socks off. It can be so amazing, it'll just leave you in awe. But this is how he does it. You know, he does it in partnership with his people. He could feed everybody himself, right? He could have done that himself. Why did he say you could do it? Why did he take their loaves and their fish to do it? It's an invitation. He doesn't want to do it alone. He wants to do it with you and me. So, you know, let's roll up our sleeves and get in there with him and do the things that he wants to do. And we'll get to see miracles. We'll get to see the little bit that we've got turned into something amazing. Because that's who he is, you know. If you put some trust in him, some confidence in him, wow, the way he gives that back, the way he can use that is just so incredible, as these disciples learned. So here's a faith lesson for us. Never think that what you have to offer is too small to make a difference. Put it in the hands of the Master and put it to use in faith. Trust him to bless what you have to offer and see it multiplied beyond your imagination. I believe the remnant have seen these things happen and are going to see them much more. I think every single one of the remnant is going to be greater than John the Immerser. Isn't that what Messiah said? And he's going to do great things. And so we need these faith lessons so that when the day comes, you know, we've got this to remember. Then, of course, we have Peter on the waters. Another fabulous story, right? Messiah walking out in the waters, Peter stepping into the water. Amazing story. That's better than Hollywood. It really is. But it's not just a story. You know, here's the difference, okay? Hollywood, digital technology, okay? It looks better than real, but it's all just zeros and ones. It's really nothing. The entire thing is all an illusion. It isn't real, pretty much like the rest of this world. When Messiah came and walked on the water, he wasn't doing a trick. He didn't have a team of video experts that were back there doing their video magic. When he walked on the water, you know what he did? He walked on the water. Think about it. So when Peter stepped out of the boat, you know what? He stepped out of a real boat onto real water. And you know what happened? He didn't sink. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing what happened. Peter actually did have the faith to walk on the water. No tricks, no smoke and mirrors. It was for real. Then what happened? He became afraid. As soon as he became afraid, it was over, right? It was over. He started to doubt. Can I keep doing this? You know how many believers I've seen that have started out on this walk with Yeshua? Started out good, saw amazing things. Then somebody starts this kind of stuff. Oh, this is too different from the Baptists. Oh, this is too much like this. Oh, my pastor told me something else. All these things. Doubts, doubts, doubts. What happens? They sink like a rock. That's what happens. They sink like a rock. Don't let those doubts into your life. Look at what is happening in your life when you're walking with Messiah. If Peter was thinking about that, he never would have sunk, would he? If he just kept looking into the eyes of his Messiah, doing what he was doing, would be a different story. Not to take anything away from him, because I think he did better than most of us. I don't think too many of us have walked on the water. So I'm not criticizing him. I am just saying we need to keep our eyes on Messiah, not get afraid, let in the doubts, and sink. So that's our faith lesson. Yeshua said, "You have little faith. Why did you doubt?" Why did you doubt? I love this about Yeshua. You keep finding this through the Gospels, you know. It's like he's so amazed at people. He's just so amazed at their unbelief. How is it even possible for you to be like that? Is what he's thinking. It almost seems sometimes that he is more amazed at them than they are at him. And you know why? Have you ever felt like this? Have you ever seen things that make you feel like this? How could anybody be so stupid? Have you ever felt like that? Can you imagine being Yeshua Messiah, living on this earth? Perfect man? I don't know how he ever did it, to tell you the truth. And to him, the most stupid thing of all was to not believe. Why do you think he felt that way? Do you think being with the Father for an eternity might have affected his attitude? Knowing the truth, feeling the presence of the Father all around him all the time in everything. It's like, how can you not know? How can you not believe? It's like not believing in air, and yet you're breathing. Right? If you think about it, it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous to doubt. And yet we don't. Sometimes we sink like Peter did. And we cry out to Messiah to save us, and he does. I know I've cried out a lot of times, so I assume you have as well. We do need him. We need him constantly. Even if you start well, fear and doubt kill faith and works of faith. And you know, the amazing thing is how fast it happens. It's like you can be going so good, and as soon as you start letting in the doubts and the fear, you just think like a rock, just like what happened to Peter. It's like almost instantaneous. It's incredible how fast that can hit us. So friends, reject fear and doubt and hold on to the level of faith that you have attained. Keep moving forward. That's what the overcomers do. You know, and that's what we constantly have to do. You know, we might not be there yet to where we're going. But let's first of all stay where we are, right? And not slip back from that. And that's what can happen if we admit fear and doubt. We can fall back from what we've already attained. And you know, faith is something that's incremental. As we keep following Messiah, we keep building that up. It keeps getting stronger, kind of like a muscle, right? Keeps getting stronger. We need that faith for so many reasons, you know, like because of the days we're living in and the things we're going to be facing. But you know, apart from that, our Father deserves our trust. You know, he's never failed those that put their trust in him. And he never will. And he really deserves to have us treat him better than that. And I want to be one of those people that does that. You know, that recognizes him for who he is and treats him accordingly. And I know that I fail as everybody does. But we have these lessons of faith from Messiah. We have him walking with us. And he's there for us to help us make it all the way. So we just need to trust him. Learning to believe. Learning to believe. That's what we're doing. That's what we want to keep doing. All the way to the end. We want to believe.
You have been listening to Hebraic Insights in the Gospels. Further teachings and study materials on various related topics and others can be found at our membership site, Tsiyon Tabernacle. Sign up is free. Just go to Tsiyon.net. That's TSIYON.net. Or click the membership link on the Zion Road website. New programs on the Gospels will be airing every Sabbath on Zion Road Radio. Join us next Shabbat to learn more in the book of Matthew. Shabbat Shalom!
Stand at the crossroads and look. Ask for the ancient paths. Ask where the good way is, and walk in it, and you'll find rest for your soul. You'll find rest Ask for the ancient paths.
Want to learn more? Listen to our podcast, Hebraic Insights in the Gospels, on all your favorite podcast directories like Spotify, iTunes, and many other places. For more information about Zion Road Radio, our mission, and this podcast, visit our website at zion.org. That's tsion.org. Join us for more Hebraic Insights in the Gospels.